Welcome in here, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight it is Sunday night. That means we are going back racing with the All-Pro Sim Racing League for the 87 Shootout Series, presented by Decals by Dylan, right here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway, historic grounds for stock car racing. The track is mimicked back to 1987. The cars are 1987s, and we can't wait to get this short track racing action to you here tonight. Up in the booth to bring you all the racing action here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Al Smith right alongside me. My name's Roger Muth. We are glad you're all here tonight. Al, this is going to be, I believe, what is this, round number 5 of the points-paying race, so the season is starting to dwindle down.
It is starting to dwindle down here, and we only have a handful of points races left. Forget last week. Last week was just a no-holds-bar, get out of the way, have fun type of race to kind of relieve some of the stress. Now these drivers are getting strapped into their 87 cars, and they are ready to put on a heck of a show here tonight as we get ready for qualifying. But yeah, only a handful of races left, Roger, to crown the inaugural season champion for the All-Pro Sims 87 Sportsman Series.
Yeah, right now David Polans does have the top spot in our... I'm a little confused here, but I was talking. David Polans has our top spot. As I believe Al, as Chris was poking me there, I believe we're going to head to a new iRacing server, but let's continue on here. David Polans is our top spot in our points championship here coming into tonight. He is up 5 points over Jeff Dillon.
Yeah, those two drivers have really been battling it out. We have Polans, who has 4 top 5s in the 4 points-paying races. The only difference between him and Jeff is Jeff Dillon, in that car number 52, has had 3 top 5s. So the Mr. Consistency goes to David Polans, but Jeff Dillon also has a win on the season. He is only one of 4 drivers have won points-paying races this season. And how about that, Roger? We have 4 different race winners, and events will tonight be number 5.
Yeah, we're going to find that out here sooner than later, but I am being told over Race Communications that we will be headed to a new iRacing server here for the 16 drivers who have joined us here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. So we'll bring that live coverage to you here soon on the Turn 3 Racing Network. We got to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight. Bear with us as we get ready and prepared here to head into the new iRacing server. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the racing action here for the All-Pro Sim Racing League. It's the 87 Shootout Series, presented by Decals by Dylan. Welcome back, race fans, here to the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Sorry for the delay in the racing action here tonight for your all-bro sim racing league, the 87 Shootout Series. But I assure you, we are here. We are ready to go here at North Wilkesboro, and drivers are starting to work out onto the track for the first time tonight. It looks like James Somke will be the first driver to lay down possibly a lap tonight.
Yeah, James Amke we had a little bit of a weather delay come through here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Sun is shining now. We're back underway as Samke through turns 3 and 4, a little bit out of shape here. Oh, he'll spin it off in turn number 4 before the lap will start, and he'll spin it back around and get back going. But Matt Vade out there, he's going to jump to your number 2 spot right now with that Haviland number 8 car. Only car quicker than him is that number 12 of Austin Carter.
Yeah, Carter making his second week's return here onto the All-Pro Sim Racing 87 Shootout Series. He has the top spot for the time being, and no longer will he have it. The row 6, number 3 of Tyler Hughes has it, and it'll be one and done for Hughes as you see him kind of nose her into the outside wall down there in turns number 1.
Our second place man in points that we were talking about earlier on before the rain shower came through, Jeff Dillon in car number 52 out there. He's sitting 4th right now with a 19.540 coming off of turn number 4 for his second lap. And at the line, Dillon will go to your number 1 spot with an 18.946. That's a new quick time here tonight in the Decals by Dillon fast time practice or qualifying session.
Yeah, and you talk about the decals by Dillon. There is the decals by Dillon, number 26 of Kevin Dillon. He goes to the 4th quickest time. David Polans goes to P number 2 on the timing and scoring. So that, Dillon was sitting there in 3rd. Now he's back down to 4th here as he comes to complete his second lap time of the evening. Let's see if he's able to go any faster. Lap number 2. And it will be a little bit slower for the driver of that 26. And, well, Al, there's a driver out there we know a little bit about. He's sitting in 10th right now, and, well, he's not looking very hot.
No, that's our good pal here at the Turn 3 Racing Network and at JDRF sponsor number 71. That's Chris Legoo. We usually catch him on our channel here, and well, Roger is sitting in the 10th spot with a 20.970 and almost getting it outside wall that time off turn 4.
Yeah, not a very hot time there for the driver of the number 71. That was a 22nd lap. It's actually 2 seconds exactly slower than Jeff Dillon, but another one of the drivers, one of our good friends. It's the Cold Beer Cameras. Cold Beer Zach Coyer. He's going to go for a loop here, the all-out towing number 31. He'll reset back onto the pits and see if he can get back out there. Carl Burke in the 53 Folgers machine, though. How does that go? In the morning, waking up with Folgers in your cup or something. Right now, he's sitting 5th, though, looking to wake up to go to the top spot.
Yeah, he's running the right line through turns 3 and 4 coming here for the checkered flag. We'll see how his cup is full, and it'll move him. Well, it's not going to move him at all. He'll slide into that 5th spot a little bit slower on lap number 2 for the 53 of Carl Burke. Looks like Coyer back out onto the racetrack with that Cold Beer Cameras entry number 31 from the All Out Motorsports. Driver out of Tennessee. He'll come off turn number 4, and green flag is out for Zach Coyer. He'll slot into the 8th spot here on lap number 1, and that's all she's going to rope.
Yeah, that's going to be a one and done there for Zach Coyer because remember, he did end up having to take a tow back to pit road. So now it looks like 11 drivers have turned in a lap time, waiting for the 44 of Mark Favorite to turn his qualifying lap here tonight. Looks like he has about, I'm not even sure here since we started the new lobby, how much time we have in our qualifying session here tonight.
Yeah, on the clock right now, it says about 5.5 minutes. Not sure we're going to get that full time here as weather did play a factor with us here, Roger. And, well, tonight's race is going to get going at one point or another. We're glad that the track was able to get dried out here. And this track, fairly new to the iRacing server. No lights here, so they have to get it done in the daytime.
Yeah, and that could play a factor a little bit later on. Right now, we're sitting at high noon with the sun above the track here. So we'll see if we can able to get all this racing action in tonight. We do got to appreciate everybody for tuning in here tonight and staying with us on the Turn 3 Racing Network as we had the little bit of a server issue, and we are back to the action here. 11 drivers have turned in a qualifying time. We'll see if anybody else is able to get out there. Like I did say, Favorite is sitting down there on the end of pit road waiting possibly maybe for a cloud to roll back over this raceway, and then he can go out there with a cooler temperature.
Yeah, so he's got to take and get out there. But I'll tell you right now, Roger, this track is going to provide some 2, 3, and possibly 4 groove racing, especially when these tires get heated up. They're going to be searching for grip all the way around this speedway. And I might be a little bit biased, but I believe this is probably one of the best tracks that the iRacing service has given us here on the asphalt side. And I'm looking forward to see what these guys can do. How about that? The top 2 in points going to start 1-2 if qualifying ends just like that. Jeff Dillon and David Polans on the front row.
Yeah, and it looks like qualifying will end here, so that will do it for our qualifying session here. So that would put Jeff Dillon at the top of the boards. And Al, we are getting ready to go to the grid tonight. And the grid is brought to us by Decals by Dillon. Let's take you through that starting lineup. Starting on the first row, it's going to be the 52 out of the Dillon Motorsports stable. That will be Jeff Dillon. Starting P number 2, he's your points, or your second in your points. Al, you just said it. It's going to be the 33, the Napa Shocks machine. That is David Polans. Row number 2, starting in the 3rd position, driving the number 3, rows number 6 Chevrolet here tonight. That is Tyler Hughes. The Decals by Dillon driver, the 26. It's one of the lone Thunderbirds here tonight. Only one other driver driving a 4, but starting the 4th position, going to be the 26 of Kevin Dillon. Starting row 3, position number 5, driving the 53 out of the Northwest, it is the Folgers machine. That is Carl Berg. Driving the Summit Racing Chevrolet number 12 out of Florida, it's going to be Austin Carter. The number 6, it's the Haviland, or the 7th position, the number 8 of Matt Vade. Starting in the 8th position, I'm all over the place here tonight, Al. It's going to be the 31 of Zach Coyer. He'll start in the 8th position with the Cold Beer Cameras machine. The 29 of Preston Boers will start there into the 9th position, and James Somke will round out our top 10.
Starting on the inside of row number 6 will be the Turn 3 Racing Network colleague. That's Chris Legou in his JDRF Chevy Monte Carlo. Outside of him, the car number 34 or 82, it is Jackie Palmore. Starting on the inside of row number 7 in the final row here, it is the number 99 of Michael Fravert. To his outside wall is his brother, Mark Fravert, in car number 44. And that is your 14-car starting field presented by the Decals by Dillon.
So 14 drivers do enter the new lobby, and it looks like we're waiting for one driver tonight, the driver of that 29, to take to the track here, and we can roll these cars off. It looks like he is going to miss the grid. Boers will have to start from pit lane here tonight. The balloons are being released from the infield, and that means next time by, or 2 times by, actually, we're going to let these boys get some heat in the motors. We will go green flag racing here tonight. So welcome everybody to the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Hope you're ready for some racing action, because these boys are going to do it hot and heavy. It's 1987 here in North Wilkesboro, and it's 1987's the cars, the lookalikes that you see on the screen. I hope you're ready to be thrown back into the past.
Yeah, these guys are ready to put some action on. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we have our first repeat winner of the season. What do you think, Roger?
Repeat winner of the season. That means it's going to be Ricky Thompson, Kevin Dillon, Jeff Dillon, Chris Canfield, or, well, if you count Preston Boers as a winner last week from our All-Star event, well, it could be possibly a repeat winner. We're going to take a quick, taking a quick peek at that, I should say. So, I mean, there's a very good chance, 14 drivers, and, well, only 5 of them have won a race here, so the odds are in your favor, Al.
An interesting note is that no pole sitter this season has won. Can Jeff Dillon be the first one to do that from the pole position? We'll find out here as Joey Pacer is going to pull that Ford Mustang down pit road, and we're ready to go green flag racing for the first time here tonight for the All-Pro Sim Racing 87 Sportsman Series.
As we race down into turn number 1, the 52 of Jeff Dillon side by side with Polans. It will be Dillon leading him off at turn number 2 down the back straightaway, headed into 3. It's going to be Dylan coming out of turn number 4 for the first time tonight. He will lead the first lap of the show, and back there for that 3rd position, that's where the battling is hot and heavy.
Yeah, side by side back there with Hughes is the 53 of Burke. He'll get on the outside of Carter. A little bit of a door bang through 1 and 2. Everybody keeping it clean and green. As now Hughes jumps down in front of the 26 of Dylan. That allows Carter to get to his outside of the momentum broke. As it's a 3-car breakaway side, single file. Now the top 5 single file with Burke right there in the 53. As the 31 of Coyer starting to make some ground up. That is the battle for your 7th position. He's side by side with Fravert off turn number 4.
Yeah, the Hardy's 99. Someone was sideways. That was Carl Burke in the Folgers machine, though. Burke lost the position to Dylan just a little bit ago and then decided to take a sip of that coffee, and he got all sorts of out of shape, but back to the battle for that 99 and the 31. It wasn't much of a battle for very long. Colbier Coyer took over that position. Now the battle for the race lead going into 3. Here comes the 33 of David Polans looking to take advantage here. Polans now going to take the race lead. New race leader on lap number 5.
Bolins with that Napa Shocks number 33 is going to take the race lead, but here comes Hughes in the number 3. He's closing in as your top 6 drivers single file as they work down the backstretch in the turn number 3. It is Polins, Dylan, Hughes, Carter, and then Dylan rounding out your top 5 as they come here past the line. 5 laps already in the books as they go run through turns 1 and 2. Polins really starting to spread it out, but back here it is the 26 of Kevin Dillon. He is down 1 spot. How about our biggest mover right now is that 99 of Michael Fravert in the 8th position. He just gotten around James Somke. We saw him battling with the 31 of Coyer. So right now Somke is in your 9th with Michael Fravert rounding out your top 8 here cars. We work down the backstretch here. It looks like Matt Vane maybe starting to make a move on Palmer off turn number 2.
Yeah, we were watching that 34 on screen, or it's the 82, depending on what you're looking at, the ticker or the car number on the track. And Jackie had came out of the corner just a couple laps ago, and he really smoked the outside wall with that right front. So that number 34 is going to be a little hurt right now, kind of limp around here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Vade is right there behind him, and Favre was underneath that 34 when that all kind of happened, and Chris Legou is still back here trailing. He was close in on that battle, and he had to take evasive action, and now he kind of slipped back just a little bit, about a little over a half a second between him and Matt Vade for the 12th and 13th position on track.
Yeah, and Chris, he did tell us in pre-race that he does not have very much experience in these cars. Was looking forward to tonight's racing, hoping for a top 10, and he runs in our 13th. One driver that had to start from the pits, Preston Boers. He is out on the racetrack 14 seconds behind our race leader as we got a bid for your 3rd position, and Austin Carter has just gotten around the 3 of Hughes, but Hughes not quite done with him. He's going to try to cut it down low off of turn number 2. Can't quite get the power down. Carter's going to hold on to that number 3 position.
The Summit Chevrolet trying to pull back in Jeff Dillon. Everybody else has gone single file, and David Polans, we talk about him all the time about how he is a very fast driver. He is right now trying to run away with things here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. You see him out about a 1.5 second race lead over the 52 of Jeff Dillon currently, and then Carter's still there, and nobody's doing any side-by-side battling action. A little bit of a blink there for the Rose number 6, or the Rose 6 number 3 machine, I should really say. Here comes Kevin Dillon down to the inside, not going to be able to make it stick with the decals by Dillon entry, so he'll fall back into the racing line. He is the highest running Ford Thunderbird right now on the raceway here. Just 13 laps in the book, working lap 14.
Yeah, these guys are really starting to get into the meat and potatoes of this race as they got some heat built up, and these tires, the cars are going to start moving around a little bit more. You're going to look for some grip out there in a very warm speedway. The track started out at 83 degrees. Right now, the track has gone up a few degrees up to the 85 degree mark. But right now, these drivers are working the high side, the middle, and the low line to work off turn number 2.
As we ride on board here with Tyler Hughes with our Turn 3 Racing Network machine here. He's running currently into that 4th position. Really nice and easy onto the gas and brake pedal out. That's what's going to save those tires here tonight.
And it's really easy to overheat them in this curb right here through turns 3 and 4. If you get up on that, it's going to really upset your race car, and it's going to send you into the spin cycle, and that's not anywhere you want to be. As he looks like he is actually closing in, back in on our thirds. You got the grass right there, Roger, off turn number 2, a little bit free for the 3 of Hughes.
Yeah, and right now he's just trying to figure it out there. It looks like Chris Legou has decided to crash the 71 machine here tonight. He's back on pit road taking the tow. Well, let's take a quick look back and see what happened to the driver of that 71. There you are watching the 71 JDRF machine. Let's see what happens to Chris. Zoe loses it out of 4, noses it into the outside wall, and immediately takes the tow back to pit road, and that's where he still sits with that 71 machine.
Tough break for our colleague there. Hopefully he had some fun out there as he'll get his car back together. But right now we work around here. David Poland's leading over Jeff Dillon by about 1 second right now. Then it's Austin Carter in the number 12 Summit Racing entry. Tyler Hughes and Kevin Dillon rounding out your top 5. Deeper back here in the field, starting to close back in, is the 53 of Burke. He's closed the gap up on the 26 car of Dillon as they work off turn number 4 to put lap number 20 on the books, working lap 21. And Coyer's right there close in tow as well as they work off the corner number 2. And Roger, I know you've been able to run around this racetrack, and what are these guys going to start feeling as they get deeper into this run?
Yeah, the deeper they get into the run, especially with these machines, as we watch the 26 of Dillon try and work over Hughes there, almost making contact out of turn 4. Sooner or later here in this run, not sure exactly where, I haven't driven exactly this machine too often here, but the I see Chris Legou out here, kind of the rolling roadblock. You're going to start to see these cars when that right front really starts to wear down. You're going to see them start to move up the raceway here at North Wilkesboro. You're not going to see really, per se, an outside lane. You see those dotted lanes or dotted lines there around the corners? You're going to see it move up just a little bit, and they're going to be running in between the first set of dotted lines and those second ones. Right now, you're watching that 26. You see him down a little bit lower. That's where he's finding speed, and that speed will stay there as long as you don't wear that right front tire out. The question is, though, are you able to save that right front tire here tonight?
Yeah, you're going to see it. Oh, the 12 of Carter a little bit sideways. That allows Hughes to the outside. That's the battle for your number 3 position. Carter got loose off of turn number 2. He'll hold on to it, but Hughes jumped to the outside again. That 12 maybe overheating that right rear tires you were just talking about, Roger. Maybe went a little bit hard too early, and now he's starting to pay the price as he's back to the 4th spot, and Dillon battling for 5th as Carter will go to the high side. Dillon going to close that hole down on the inside off turn number 4. Side by side, Dillon will take over the 4th spot momentarily, but Carter races back on the outside.
So that 12 machine started to head to the wrong direction here as he heated up those tires, and that's something you got to watch out for. You heat those tires up, you see he's able to outside right now hang on as he slides into turn number 3 that time. That'll now shove him up the track, and Kevin Dillon will get around him. Carl Burke will be the next one to do the side-by-side dance with him, and they will go down into turn 1 with it. But once you heat those tires up, you got to be gentle. It's like carrying an egg then, and you really have to be easy onto the throttle, otherwise the rear end of that number 12 machine is going to come around, and now you just see him trying to hang on for dear life. Not only are the tires heated up, now he's up outside of the groove right now.
Yeah, trying to cool off those tires and not lose as much ground as possible as Coyer will start to fill that void to the inside that he's opened up. So 12 of Austin Carter headed in the wrong direction, maybe searching for some cooler track, scrapes the concrete barrier down in the turn number 3. Oh, no harm, no foul as Coyer will move past him. That is the battle. That was for 6 of Carter, gone from running 3rd all the way back to the 7th position in just a handful of laps as they work through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, but he's still hanging right there. Oh, into the outside wall. He was out of turn number 2. The 12 of Carter going to hit the outside wall. And now we'll see if he's able to hang on. Maybe he can cool those tires down a little bit faster back there. But Kevin Dillon has caught that number 3 machine. They are running that nose-to-tail formation here for that 3rd, 4th, 5th position because Count Carl Burke right there involved in that one. But it is all David Polans here with coming to complete his 30th lap. Since he's got out front here tonight, he has set sail 1.1 second gap over Jeff Dillon. Then it's Hughes, then it's Dillon again, and Burke, your top 5 drivers. Right now, all 14 drivers are still out onto the racetrack, but only 13 of them are on the lead lap. In the 13th position, you see him right there. That's the 29. That is Preston Boers. Remember, he missed the start here tonight, Al, and he had to start tail end and, well, about a half a lap down.
Yeah, he's catching the backside of the 44 of Mark Fravert, and that's one of the drivers that we've seen that have a great pace at the start of the races here. As you see, Boers a little bit sideways off of turn number 4. The 44 of Fravert has been one of those drivers that kind of just hangs around the back for the first half, say 3/4 of the race, but he always ends up closer to the front as Preston Boers going to work to the inside of him. That is the battle for your 12th position, so give Boers that position as he'll move by him down the front stretch. And interesting to note, going down the front stretch, you're actually going downhill. You carry a lot of speed down in the turn number 1, then working off turn number 2, you got to work uphill. So you got that all that horsepower that these cars have to pull you up that race there. So it's a little bit of a line sensitive and a little bit trickery there. You don't want to overheat those right front tires with moving downhill with a much faster pace than you do down the backstretch.
So now Boers takes over that 12th position as Burke is still trying to work over Kevin Dillon, who's trying to work over, and a little bit of an incident, I believe, possibly for the Carter machine. It looks like he is down pit road. Don't see anything other than Carter down on pit road.
Yeah, it looks like he's pulled that number 12 behind pit road. So unfortunate circumstances for the 12 of Austin Carter, who maybe something terminal going away. But let me tell you this, Jeff Dillon is starting to reel back in Polans. He was 1.1 seconds behind him. And, well, right now, as they come off of turn number 4, that is down to 0.6 of a second. So Dillon starting to reel back in Polans for your race lead.
Yeah, we saw this a couple weeks ago. David Polans really fast on the initial drop of the green flag, and then everybody starts to really roll him back in, and we see it exactly here tonight. Polans started second, Dillon started on the pole, and now here we go. It's starting to close that gap between the two drivers, and now this time by at the line, it's only 0.6 of a second that separates positions 1 and 2 on the raceway. Jeff Dillon, last time by, looking at it, actually he was a little bit slower by 1/10 of a second, so he gave 1/10 back to David Polans. They are running 2 different lines, though. Polans entering the corners of 3 and 4, or turn 3, down right onto the bottom groove, and Jeff Dillon entering a little bit higher. Let's see in turn 1 how they do. Both of them almost running identical entry points that time in turn 1. Follow them again, once again, down the back straightaway. Do notice that Polans was exiting a little bit higher. Now this time it looks like Polans goes back to the top side, but here comes Jeff Dillon. Now it's under a half a second.
Yeah, Dillon able to keep that car much lower off the corner number 4, and he is right there, down to 2 car lengths between our race leaders as 39 laps are in the books, working lap 40 off the corner, and Polans a little bit loose that time off of turn number 2, as now Dillon is there. Dillon and Polans, your top 2 points battles, the championship battles, and they are battling for the race lead side by side. Maybe a race lead change here coming into turn number 1. It'll be Dillon to the inside, working the extreme inside of the racetrack. Polans working the outside. He'll have that momentum up the backstretch. Half a car length lead for Polans, but he'll sail it down into turn number 3. It'll be Dillon on the inside off of turn number 4. And at the line, I believe it's going to be Polans by about 1/4 of a car.
Yeah, so Polans hangs on to the race lead for the time being. You see him way up the track. Jeff Dillon, one of those drivers, he'll run you pretty hard, but he's not going to wreck that 52. He knows we're not quite to the halfway point here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway, so there's a lot of racing left to do. So now, this time, great run out of turn 4. It's the Dillon Motorsports entry leading at the line that time. Jeff Dillon by just the nose of that Chevy Monte Carlo, but it will be Polans battling back now. Dillon sideways, and Polans was into the outside wall out of turn 2.
That was just a close moment. Could have wiped out our top 2 cars as Polans got the wall off turn number 2, came down and almost caught the right rear of that Dillon Motorsports number 52, and that'll give the sole position to the 52 for your race leaders. They work off of turn number 2, and meanwhile, while they were battling it out, Tyler Hughes in that number 3 car He is starting to close the gap as he's pulled away a little bit from the 26 of Kevin Dillon as they work on down here at the front stretch. We are to pass the 1/5 mark, almost a quarter of the way through this 125 lap main event.
Yeah, I'm watching this Tyler Hughes car, though, here, Al. Look at the rear end of this row 6 Monte Carlo. It looks like somebody has been into the back of this Monte Carlo at least one time here tonight. It is not straight. The spoiler's a little jacked up, and the bumper's a little caved in. The trunk lid itself a little damaged also on it, but that car still seems to be handling pretty good. But where did he get the damage, and will it affect that number 3 on this long run?
I think the damage happened when the 12 of Carter possibly got a little bit out of shape. Remember, they were racing hard for that 3rd position, and I think maybe the decals by Dillon, number 26 car, maybe had just kind of squared up and squared them with the checkup that happened, and I think that's possibly where the damage has happened. I don't see too much damage on the front of that Ford Thunderbird that's back there as Burke trying to work under Kevin Dillon off turn number 4, but I possibly think that's where that damage had come from.
Well, we're keeping an eye on the Hughes machine right now. Last time by at the line, Hughes was actually a little bit quicker than Poland's, and Poland's now struggling in the Napa shocks machine. Maybe the shocks are going away. Maybe that's what sent him into the outside wall out of turn number 4. Keep a close eye on that one also. Looking at the timing and scoring sheet that I'm handed here, looks like 14 drivers entered. Right now, 13 drivers still out there on track. And it looks like 12 drivers still left on our lead lap tonight.
Yeah, Mark Fravert and car number 44, our last car on the lead lap. As we take a look back here through the field, Preston Boris has gotten around Mark Fravert. He runs in your 11th position. He's trying to chase down the number 82 or the 34 of Jackie Palmore. As we got a side-by-side battle back here for your 8th position. Matt Vade and James Somke side-by-side. Vade way up on the outside of that Haviland number 8 car. Somke working the inside. They're still wheel-to-wheel side-by-side in the turn number 3.
Yeah, it looks like, though, maybe Somke is going to be able to pull even out of turn number 4. The Chevrolet to the inside, sideways for Somke. Sideways entering turn number 1 here for the number 8 of Matt Vade. Vade going to go up the track, but he's going to be able to clear, actually, the number 1 of Somke. So Somke not going to be able to pick up a position here. Matt started up there into the 7th position. He is the first driver I've seen use this technique here. It's a very odd line. Somke battles back.
Yeah, he's running the extreme high line. I would say that's the 3rd up to the 4th groove, and then he kind of diamonds the corner back up off the corner, and it's actually working as he's got pulled about a car length now over the number 1 of Somke. So maybe that outside line, I did mention possibly 3 to 4 lanes of racing would come in. Maybe that 4th lane is coming in with these tires that are getting worn out here as they have done 52 laps, working lap 53. As they work off the corner, I just noticed up ahead of these drivers, the number 99 of Michael Fravert. They're side by side with the 31 of Coyer. That's the battle for your 6th position as they work down in the turn number 1.
Yeah, the Cole Beers camera, number 31 here, the all-out towing machine. Brand new paint job on that Chevrolet here tonight for the North Wilkesboro Speedway race. And, you know, it's early on yet, not quite to that halfway point. Getting there, just about 10 laps or so, a little over. And Coyer holding on to a strong top 10 car right now, but the handling is starting to go away on this long run. So Coyer's car is starting to fade. What can he do from this point now, Al? I'm not sure the fuel window for these boys here tonight. We didn't get a recheck on that when we headed into the new server. So what can Coyer do now here? Because your race leader is about a half a track ahead of him.
I think it all depends on if we get a yellow flag here. I don't really want to jinx it. They put on one heck of a show here for us tonight. Coyer going to battle back to the outside, but if they're able to go the full 125 on a tank of fuel, they might be in a world of hurt. You might have to come down and get tires. That's going to take any chances of a good finish. And Coyer comes into tonight's racing action 3rd in the standings, only 11 points out of the race lead. As they work around the speedway, Fravert back to the inside. That's the battle.
Yellow flag is out onto the speedway, Al. The 29 of Preston Boers has gone around, and that Chevrolet is pancaked on the front, pancaked on the rear. That car has a ton of damage. We'll have to watch it back. Oh, is some more contact there almost between a couple of your race leaders. We'll have to take it back on the Turn 3 Racing replay here in just a second when the truck gets it queued up. Boers' woes here from the drop of the green go from bad to even worse now. Last week's All-Star winner for Preston Boers, but let's take it back here and watch as that's actually after the yellow flag. Let's see if we can go back just a little bit farther there. You see the 29 sideways drifting turns 3 and 4, and when the car came out of turn 4, those tires were heated up. Al, we talked about hot tires and the car not sticking, easy back to the throttle. Around goes the 29 of Boers.
Yeah, it's got in the gas a little bit too hard off turn number 4, and almost had it caught and then got the inside wall and spins right there in front of your race leader, to 52 of Jeff Dillon. Well, all that talk about tires, and, well, only one driver going to stay out on the racetrack, it looks like, and that was Coyer. As he works down here, as everybody else has come down pit road to service their cars. Right side's going on the 52 of Dillon. We'll see if the 33 will knock out some of that damage on that right front. I wonder how much of that affected him later on in that run, as he had fallen off and Hughes was starting to pressure him for the number 2 position.
Yeah, so it's going to be a reset. So pretty much, looks like it's going to be Dillon, Polans. Let's see, it was Hughes, then I believe Kevin Dillon, Carl Burke, Mark Favorite coming all out of pit road there. Then it's Somke, Palmer, Vade, and Mark Favorite. So those are the drivers and how they come out here tonight. But we're going to see because, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a reset here now.
Yeah, they're almost at the halfway point. Just about 3 more laps will be to the halfway point of tonight's 125 laps 87 Sportsman Series race here tonight, the North Wilkesboro Speedway. But it was interesting to note right there, Zach Coyer stayed out and led a lap. That is worth bonus points. He knows his championship contenders have both been up front and both had led laps. So to keep that on an even playing field, Coyer stays out to lead a lap, comes down pit road, services his number 31, and is down and away. So loses a lot of that track position back to the 9th position, but was able to get those valuable bonus points for leading a lap.
So now when we go back to the green flag racing, it should be single file racing with lap down cars to the inside here. So that'll be the first time we see the lap down cars. And right now, taking a quick peek, it looks like that would be Mark Favorite, Preston Boers, Chris Legou, and it would be Carter, but Carter is off the racetrack right now with his number 12 Chevrolet, so he won't restart to the inside. So just looks like possibly 3 drivers should have the chance to line up to the inside as the iRacing pace car lights are out. Al, your first 5 positions, that's exactly where they started in that order.
Yeah, they've kind of evened themselves back out here. Now you're going to have the single file restart, and once the lap drivers, we see the 71 of Lugu getting pulling up to the inside. These guys are going to race these leaders hard. Will a mistake happen? Will contact happen? These drivers are going to be racing to get back onto the lead lap to keep their race hopes alive as the race pace car pulls down to the infield, and Jeff Dillon jumps on the gas pedal first. The lap car stayed to the inside. That's the 71 of Legou. So your first 4 cars being able to get by the lap traffic as Hughes automatically going underneath the 33 of Polans.
Will he be able to make the pass, though, down the back straightaway? He is right there on the quarter panel. The row 6, number 3, goes down to the inside of the 33 here of Polans. He is going to take over that second position as he slides up out of turn number 4. So it's Jeff Dillon, Tyler Hughes, and then David Polans. Now Kevin Dillon is sitting there 4th. Carl Burke is all over the rear end. Here they come out of turn number 2. Kevin Dillon trying to peek down to the inside. Not going to be able to this time on Polans. Now he's going to stick the nose of that Thunderbird as he drives through the corner just a little bit better through that center portion than Polans did, but not able to really capitalize. Now he'll give it another shot down on the bottom.
Yeah, he'll work to the inside off turn number 2. Poland's going to work to the outside. He'll have that momentum. Look at it. Pull a car length on to 26 of Dillon down the backstretch into turn number 3. Side by side, wheel to wheel off of turn number 4. It'll be Dillon, and then Burke is going to come on through. They'll be side by side. That is the battle for your 5th position. Side by side, Michael Favorite in the 99 is going to be working to the inside as well. They work off the corner. Polans going in the wrong direction, but up front, Dillon starting to feel the pressure. Tyler Hughes is right there all over the back bumper.
Yeah, here on lap 68, Hughes would like to lead a lap. It looks like Preston Boers has gone around again. Caution flag number 2 going to fly here tonight. And it looks like he immediately takes the tow, and it looks like he immediately has loaded the 29 up onto the trailer here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway as the caution flag waves for the second time. Let's take a quick look back here. Let's see what happens to the driver of the 29. He is 1 lap down, running into the 12th position. Oh, catches the curb down there in 4L, and it just takes that 29 around.
Yeah, it possibly broken an axle with the car unloading like that and gets the inside wall. And, well, just wasn't meant to be tonight for the 29 of Preston Boers, as he has taken it behind the wall. But here comes your race leader. Interesting play here. Everybody coming back down pit road. I did not see that one coming, as Coyer, Fravert, and Legou are going to stay out. But down pit road, it is the number 52 going to jump back into the pit. We'll see if it's going to be a 2-tire stop or maybe 4. Pretty much this race half over now, Roger. You guys know how hard they were pushing in segment number 1. We'll call it this segment because it's pretty much a reset for the second half of this race. Do they learn something? Do they know they can push harder? Is Kevin Dillon's going to beat them off of the pit road? So maybe a 2-tire stop for the decals by Dillon, number 26.
So I'm looking at it, though. Zach Coyer will stay out here, and he stays out again. So he will be our race leader when we go back racing. Remember, we were just down pit road just 10 laps ago was when everybody came down as the first yellow flag here tonight came out.
Yeah.
So, how big of a difference are the tires going to be? It's actually only really a 9-lap difference.
Yeah, really 9 laps, and by 3 or 4 of those were under yellow. So, is it going to be that big of a difference? I guess take and gamble and find out. Or are we going to get to the back side of this race now that we've had 1 caution? This is yellow number 2. Are we going to get that rash of yellows that could happen, but I don't think it's going to. So I think an interesting play call here. He is going to have a 2-tire play with the 26 of Kevin Dillon right there behind him. Then you got 4 tires on everybody else behind them. So we're going to find out no tires versus the 2 tires versus the 4 tires, and we're going to find out. But been a very interesting race so far. We've seen a lot of comers and goers, a lot of tires getting eaten up. Will the tires last that long for the number 31 of Coyer? Remember, we saw, Roger, him kind of sliding backwards towards the second half of that first stint before the halfway point.
Yeah, we'll find out. It looks like David Pollins is back down on pit road for the second time here, so he will actually go a lap down to our race leaders. So we'll see if he's able to work his way back up. He will restart. It looks about the 11th or 12th position. 1 lap down, he'll be on the same as Mark Favret, as I believe now. Did we get the one to go that time by? We did, so we will go back racing with Coyer, Kevin Dillon, Jeff Dillon. Then it's going to be Hughes lining up here, then Burke, as the iRacing pace car is going to dive it in here. We are going back, green flag racing, Coyer to the outside. Mark Favret going to line up down on the bottom. That 44 trying to get that lap back, but he is not going to get a good start. Here comes Kevin Dillon. He's going to waste no time. Out, he is going for the race lead out of turn 2.
Off of turn number 2, that 4 Thunderbird, the decals by Dillon, number 26 to the inside of the 31. All-out motorsports entry of Zach Coyer. Derby side by side, and those older tires, I think that answers our question. They are not as good as the fresher tires. Is now the 26 of Dillon. Leads his brother Jeff Dillon off for turn number 4. Here comes Hughes in that row 6, number 3 car. He's challenging for the number 2 position as they work here. That time, a little bit of a wiggle out of the 52 off of turn number 4.
Yeah, and that number 3 machine of Hughes is still all over the back bumper. Kevin Dillon, that is, leading the way here, leading for the first time. Here comes Hughes out of turn number 2. He'll shoot to the inside of the 52 Dillon Motorsports entry tonight here on lap 76. We're going to come by this time. We will complete 76 and head off into the sunset, the second half of this race. Now we are racing to the end of this one. It looks like Mark Favret has pulled the 44 to pit road for the time being, but I believe he's going to bring her back out onto the racetrack. But the race is for the lead because the decals by Dillon 26 has some company to the inside.
Yeah, that's the 2 tires versus the 4 tires. This is the 3 of Tyler Hughes going to go to your race lead. Now maybe he'll slow the pace down. He can kind of set the pace, but Kevin Dillon's going to work back to the inside off turn number 2. Side by side. One car going into the grass. That looks like it was the 53 of Carl Burke. He comes to a stop on the backstretch, and he'll take the tow to pit road. We'll stay clean and green. So your top 3 cars single file. Then we got to go back here to the 4th position. The 31 of Coyer working the 3rd groove. Here comes the 99 of Fravert. That's the battle for your 4th position. Not much of a battle as Fravert will move the Hardys number 99 to 4th.
Those new tires just drove right around the inside of that 31 of Colbier Coyer. That'll move Coyer back into the 4th position, and then he will be looking to see if Matt Vade, who you see there in the number 8 Haviland machine, he was into the outside wall. You see the heavy contact to the right side of that number 8 Haviland Ford Thunderbird here tonight. The brake rotors are glowing on that. It just shows how much brake these guys have into these 87 cars here tonight. So have to keep an eye on that to see if any heat builds up in the tires. But sideways for the 8 there of Vade as he's trying to work that lap machine. That's the 33 of David Polans. Polans just trying to carry on and get into a good position where he could possibly run back down the race leaders and get his lap back. Remember, he is 1 lap down here on lap 82.
Yeah, so right now the 33 of Poland's trying, or maybe hoping for a yellow where he'll be able to line up to the inside. We know he's just as fast as our race leaders, but he has to get around them and then catch yellow, or get around them and then pull away from them and come all the way back around. Being 1 lap down is he's withholding the advances of that Haviland Ford Thunderbird of Matt Vade. Vade working the outside off the corner. Right there in front of that, those drivers is the 31 of Coyer, as the 99 of Fravert. He has already caught to the backside of the 52 of Dillon as they work down the front stretch in the turn number 1.
Yeah, so it's a 4-car, a little bit of a breakaway. Kevin Dillon still putting the pressure to the row 6, number 3 of Tyler Hughes here on lap 84 as they work down the back straightaway here once again. Hughes was able to take the lead, but he has not been able to run away. You see everybody real close down there on that bottom of turn 4. They are trying to play a little, call it Russian roulette with that curb down there, because there is a curb, and we have already seen it claim 1 victim here tonight of Preston Boers. If somebody steps over that line, they're going to be dancing with disaster.
Yeah, we saw it earlier with Boers, and turn 1 is not, it doesn't have the curb, but you have the grass down there, and that will really, really mess you up. As we see the 26 of Dillon still working the extreme low side, kind of clipping that grass that I was just talking about. Him and Hughes were doing that, so Hughes trying to keep the number 26 at bay behind him. 0.2 of a second, working off for turn number 4. Put lap number 86 on the board, working lap 87. The 26 of Dillon, those 2 tires are kind of equalized with the 4 right now, and they got about a 2-car length advantage over the 52 of Jeff Dillon.
Yeah, but look how that Thunderbird's able to hold the bottom groove. The decals by Dillon. Oh, almost contact there. There was some contact. A little bumper to the rear there of that number 3 saying, hey, I'm down here running the bottom groove. It just seems like Kevin Dillon's able to hold those 2 tires down there. Maybe it freed the car up. We've seen a lot of guys sideways here tonight, but maybe, just maybe, 2 tires is going to be the way to go in the end.
Yeah, we see the different lines that they're working down here in the turn number 1. Hughes working above those dotted lines. This time kind of straddles them. Dillon way below them, right down to the grass. Got a little bit loose there. That's going to allow Hughes to scoot away down in the turn number 3.
Here comes the 52. That is Jeff Dillon to the outside. I believe they're actually cousins here, Kevin and Jeff. And Jeff thought that he was going to have the momentum to the outside. He actually was not able to, so Kevin's going to hold on to that right now with the Ford. But that was it. That would explain why one's a Ford and one's a Chevrolet.
It would. We're pulling for the Ford camp here on our side.
Whoa. Time out, Al.
Yeah.
Chevrolet. You pronounced it wrong. We're pulling for the Chevrolet.
Well, there's too many of those in the stands here. We're working almost 30 laps to go right now. 36 laps to go in this event, and it is Kevin Dillon. He is trying to work to the backside of Tyler Hughes. Look at the run he gets through turns 3 and 4. They come off turn 4. Able to keep that car a little bit lower off the corner. Are these 2 front runners going to burn up their stuff? We saw Jeff Dillon earlier on in this race. He kind of fell back a little bit and then applied the pressure late in the run, got back to the race lead. Is he applying the same style of racing right now as he watched the top two kind of just duking it out, left hand after right hand, uppercuts here through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think what really helps Jeff Dillon here on the iRacing.com platform is the actual seat time that he has when he races down there at the Hagerstown Speedway. The driver also has some asphalt seat time, and all throughout the ranks of racing over here in the mid-Atlantic states, Maryland, Pennsylvania, wherever he seems to be racing that weekend. I think that's what really helps this driver hold on to these tires here, though, a little bit longer, which will show on the long run if we stay green to the end, which there's a very good possibility that we will end up running this one out to the end, green, with just 30 laps to go here. I believe that was at the line. Jeff Dillon's got to be in the back of everybody's mind, especially Kevin up there, who's still putting the pressure to Tyler Hughes with a little bit of another shove into the rear end again to that number 3.
Yeah, Dillon able to work the bottom of the racetrack. We're able to get that car to roll just a little bit better than at number 3 at Hughes, but every time he gives him that little bump, it really upsets the 26 and allows the 3 of Hughes to get pulled back out in front. That time Hughes really wide off of turn number 2. Dillon within 3 car lengths down to turn number 3.
Yeah, but that row 6 machine got such a great momentum run off that top shelf. You see Dillon able to actually start to pull back in that gap when that 3 goes to the bottom. This time it looks like the 3 just kind of overshot turn 1, and that's what shot him up the track as you see the gap shrinking 1 car. Now it's 2 cars almost down the back straightaway, but look how much farther Kevin Dillon, another shot to the back bumper of that 3, but Kevin Dillon just able to drive that much farther off into the corner.
Yeah, they put the chrome horns here under 20 laps to go, 30 laps to go, excuse me, right now. So right now it is go time, and Kevin knows that Jeff is just there lurking. He is about 3 car lengths off these 2, probably giving him some space. He sees the contact happening in front of him. So right now they probably given some space. Now, as I say that, Dillon closing in on the backside of the 26 of Kevin Dillon, as they're going to come up on the lap mobile. The 71 of Chris Legou is going to go to the inside, and that's the preferred running line for the 26. That kind of holds up the 3 of Hughes as they come off turn number 4.
Yeah, Legou will get down to the bottom, though, with his number 71. Your race leaders will work around the outside. Hughes, Dillon, Mark Favorite not quite there yet to that 71 out of Vermont, so he will stay down to the bottom. Here comes that 99. But now it is definitely a 3-car battle for the race lead with just 26 laps to go. It'll be 25 to go at the line this time. It's anybody's ball game. As long as you can see the race leader here, if we stay green, it's your chance to win. Who will win here at the famous North Wilkesboro Speedway in the 87 cars? Back in, well, we've traveled back into the past. I mean, it's 1987.
It is, and right now the 26 at Dillon trying to work underneath the row 6, number 3. Tyler Hughes couldn't make anything happen there. It kind of got to the inside left rear tire, so Hughes knows he's down there. But Hughes running the outside of the speedway with a little bit more momentum as they go down to the turn number 3. But you got to roll it up. You see the brake rotor starting to glow on these cars as they battle for your race lead.
A little bit farther back into the field, though, Jackie Palmer is sitting into the 8th position right now. He is about 10.5 seconds behind our race leader. See if he can pick up the pace here tonight with just 23 laps to go. David Poland still running 1 lap down in that 33 machine. There you see Matt Vade. Vade is actually running in the 5th position right now on our timing and scoring. Coyer, remember with those older tires, he has fallen back to the 6th position, but it may not be as far as he's going to fall right now because here comes James Somke in the number 1. Somke is trying to get around the Cold Beer Coyer machine, the Cold Beer Cameras entry here tonight. How long can Coyer hold off this number 1?
Yeah, these guys have been duking it back and forth. Somke had just gotten around Palmer about 5-6 laps ago, and he is caught to the backside of this number 31 as they run side by side off the corner. So these drivers, they know it's going to be 20 laps to go, and Coyer needs to have every position is important for Coyer, as he knows his championship rivals are running 2-3 right now. Well, and he knows David Polanchuk came in as our points leader. He is back to the 9th position, so he's going to gain some ground there. But he needs to finish in front of as many cars as possible as they work through the corner. So far, Coyer able to hold Somke at BA, working it outside of the speedway.
Yeah, but there's 20 laps to go. Will that all-out towing Cold Beer Coyer machine, Cold Beer cameras be able to hold off the number 1? We'll find out as we watch him again come out of turn 4. Coyer almost into the outside wall that time out of turn 4, but he keeps it going, and they stay side by side once again down into turn number 1. That all-black carbon fiber 1987 Chevrolet there of Somke. Trying the new technology with that race team, and so far in the early portion of this season, it's worked out, and it almost worked out for him there, but he got a little sideways for the driver of that number 1. That allows Coyer once again to take back the spot going down into turn number 1. 18 laps to go, and now Coyer passes back for that 6th position.
Yeah, as those drivers are battling it out, the 26 of Kevin Dillon really applying the pressure to the 3 of Hughes. This time off of turn number 2, that'll gain some ground back, but now the 52 of Jeff Dillon closes back in, but closes back in. It's like a slinky. They pull apart and then they go right back together. Here are the top 3 cars underneath the blanket for your race lead with just 16 laps to go. Jeff Dillon working the high side of the speedway, trying to get some momentum to get around Kevin Dillon.
As we ride on board with Jeff Dillon, you see how smooth those hands are here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. It really plays factors into keeping the tires underneath the car. Your leaders will, though, catch that 44. That is Mark Favorite. Favorite running there into the 10th position right now, just 3 laps behind the race pace. But he will be a factor in deciding who will win this race here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway as Dillon, that is Kevin Dillon, peeking to the inside. That time out of turn 4, not going to be able to put the power down to take the race lead.
Not able to put the power down just quite yet. How much longer does that number 3 have in front of the 26 before? Well, we already seen a couple of the bumper tags happen here tonight. How much more patient is Kevin Dillon going to be with Tyler Hughes? They come off turn number 4. They'll see 13 laps to go for Hughes. We see the line starting to change for the 26 of Dillon, and a little bit of a wider entry. He'll be side by side off turn number 2.
Yeah, it looks like that 3 got a little sideways there for Hughes out of turn number 2. That allows the decals by Dillon, number 26, Ford Thunderbird, to pull even through the corners of 3 and 4. He'll slide up out of turn 4. New race leader with just 11 to go. Kevin Dillon now takes the race lead as, Hughes sideways with a huge drift down there into turn number 1. Hughes now trying to give it everything he's got with that Chevrolet. One of them into the wall. Matt Vade gonna hit the wall, and we will go under the caution flag.
Yellow flag coming out. Looks like maybe David Poland's also involved with this accident here. Matt Vade going to come out, bring our caution out for the 3rd time here tonight with just 11 laps to go. So we will go back green flag racing with about five or so laps left to go in this event. And this one could get wild. What do? Do you come down pit road for tires, or do you stay out? If you're in 2nd and 3rd, well, they're going to come down pit road. So now it's going to be a matter of 2 versus 4 tires as your top 4 cars are coming down pit road.
Yeah, as they come down pit road, we watch this replay back here, and let's see if we can go on board with the driver out of Vermont. This is the turn 3 onboard camera. You see Matt, and Poland's. Both of them hit the outside wall, and Chris Legou was just hammered down as he runs right into that number 8 machine there of Matt Vade, and I believe that's going to about do it for all those, well, I believe for Vade and Legou, because both cars are heavily damaged.
Yeah, he kind of saw the C's there and went for where they were parted, but then that tidal wave came down and just kind of a weird circumstances there for both those drivers hitting something. The 31 of Coyer and the 1 of Somke able to get by unscathed as well. And then as Vade was rolling down the racetrack, Palmore just nowhere to go. It looks like maybe the steering broken on that Haviland number 8 car. So unfortunate for Jackie Palmore, but that Coyer staying out once again, Roger.
No, Coyer came down, Al, but he only put 2 tires on that all-out towing number 31.
Oh, caught me sleeping. Well, now he's going to come back down pit road, so...
Yeah, maybe he thought that was a bad choice, but I'm looking at it. The farthest he's going to fall, I think, is about the 6th position, possibly, maybe 5th. So with him coming back down pit road here, he's not going to lose a ton of position. And, well, maybe he just doesn't want to be up there also with the big boys. Maybe he's a little afraid.
Well, that's going to give the lead back to the 26 of Kevin. And that's one thing I will say about Coyer. I don't think he's ever been scared of anything. I think it just matters how deep he's in.
Well, no, I actually think, Al, he might be afraid of us.
That is possible.
So that would be why he came down pit road, so he wouldn't finish in the top 3. He wouldn't have to talk to us.
Well, I mean, I don't blame him. Who wants to talk to us?
The millions of people that are watching, that we got to thank for tuning in here on a Sunday night to watch us here on the Turn 3 Racing Network to watch the All-Pro Sim Racing League. It's the 87 Shootout Series tonight, presented by the man who's out on the front there. You see the sponsorship on the side? That's the decals by Dylan Machine.
7 laps to go. The lights are out. We're going to get 6 to go. 6-lap shootout coming your way. Who's it going to be? Kevin Dillon, Tyler Hughes, or Jeff Dillon? Mark Favorite, James Somke also in the top 5. Could it be any of those? A little bit of a jumble start, and it'll be Dillon. He'll jump out to a 2-car length advantage in the turn number 1.
So with just 6 laps to go, we go back to that green flag racing and the Dillon entry of Kevin. Dillon pulls out to the good size lead over the row 6, number 3 of Tyler Hughes. Jeff Dillon right there. That kind of shrinks Mark Favorite to the out, or that's Michael Favorite also to the outside there, and he has a little handling issues on the Hardee's 99. It'll be 5 laps to go and pretty much a 3-car breakaway now.
Yeah, Kevin Dillon working the inside of the speedway. Jeff Dillon starting to put the pressure to Tyler Hughes. With all this in the rear view mirror of Kevin Dillon. He says, have at it, boys. Then while you race, I'll just drive away into the sunset. Hughes holding off Jeff Dillon. Dillon taking a peek to the inside. Can't do anything with him that time in the turn numbers 1 and 2. Now the pull even off of turn number 2. Hughes sideways off turn 2.
Yeah, right now Kevin Dillon looking into the mirror. He is loving what he is seeing as he works off of turn number 4. It'll be 3 laps to go here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway for Kevin Dillon in that Ford. Could he be the first repeat winner of the season? Because now it's 2.5 laps here for Kevin Dillon as that battle still rages on for second and also the 4th position. They run side by side as the popsicle sticks will come into the air, this time by at the line for Kevin Dillon.
2 more circuits around the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Kevin Dillon enjoying a good 10 to 15 car length advantage over your second. But how about the battle back here for your 4th spot? They were just 3 wide. It is the 99 of Michael Favorite, James Hopke, and Zach Coyer battling for that 5th position as the white flag comes out. Final trip around the speedway for the 26th of Kevin Dillon.
Kevin Dillon here tonight started back into the 4th position. He is up to P number 1 as he comes into turns 3 and 4 for the final time here tonight. The decals by Dillon Ford Thunderbird. Going to be the first repeat winner of the All-Pro Sim Racing League 87 Shootout Series. Kevin Dillon is your winner tonight at North Wilkesboro. Finishing in the 2nd position, going to be Tyler Hughes. Jeff Dillon comes across the line in 3rd. Then it's going to be Michael Favorite. Cole Beers, Zach Coyer is 5th. James Somke is 6th. Jackie Balmer is 7th. 8th is going to go to David Polans. Mark Favorite is 9th. Chris Legou, hey,
That's top 10.
He comes home in the top 10.
That was his goal. I remember he said it would be like winning if he did that, and well, he did it in that Priority Auto Sport number 71. Giving a little love tap to Coyer there on pit road.
Yeah, him and Coyer are good friends as Kevin Dillon goes ahead and burns them down here tonight. We're going to step away for just a brief moment, and we will see if we can get a word in with your top 3 here tonight. Don't go anywhere, race fans. We'll be back with your post-race show presented by Decals by Dillon.
Welcome back to the Turn 3 Racing Network as we are down here in Victory Lane at the North Wilkesboro Speedway with tonight's victory winner or victor of the 125 lap main event. And it's the decals by Dylan, number 26, taking one home for the Ford and becoming our first replay winner of the season. Kevin Dillon. Kevin, you had a heck of a race. What a battle you had with Tyler in those closing laps.
Yeah, that was just an awesome race. I think we had 3 cautions. Everybody did a phenomenal job. The guys that race up front are pretty much up front every week, and you really start getting to trust them and getting to be able to race pretty hard around them. And I think that's pretty much what we had. The top 3 tonight with me, Jeff, and Tyler. I'm checkers or wreckers, apparently, in this league anyway. I think the only 2 races I've actually finished, I've actually won. So, hey, I'll take it.
Well, you had a great, good battle there, and we saw the different lines developing up. How tricky was the racing surface for you guys out there tonight as the tires got worn out? The first stint went almost to halfway before you guys were able to come down pit road, and looked like every time you had the chance, you guys would come down and put some fresh rubber on these cars. How tricky was it?
The first 2 laps, I guess, with these bias ply tires, there's just they have to build the air pressure. So they're a little bit of a handful. They tend to kind of want to get loose and step out, center off. So you kind of had to really egg the throttle a little bit. Then once you started getting through the run, as the tires start to wear, it actually started getting a push in the center. And then you'd kind of get that push loose off. So I changed up my line like 3 or 4 different times, and I really started liking kind of letting off early, almost at the flag stand, and kind of running low line through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That kind of became my preferred line, even though some guys were a little bit higher.
You're talking about the closing laps here. You and Tyler were changing colors on the front bumper and the rear bumper of the car. How much were you watching out of the front of the car versus knowing that Jeff was back there behind you in the 3rd position, ready to pounce if 2 of you got together?
My biggest concern was if Tyler and I would have gotten side by side for, just even 2 or 3 laps, really, it slows the momentum down so badly that behind car always catches. So I was able to get by Tyler fairly quick there at the end of that run, which actually probably worked out best for the both of us because Jeff probably would have come up and passed us both.
Well, congratulations on the win, the 2nd one of the season, our first repeat winner. Who makes it all possible for you to be in here week in and week out?
Well, definitely, I thank Jeff a lot because Jeff helps me out with the league a lot, as well as he's an iRacing veteran, and I'm about, I guess this is my 2nd or 3rd year, so I've leaned on Jeff a lot the last couple of years, and him and I practice together. So Jeff's pretty much the reason why I run half as good as I do, and I just want to thank everyone that comes out in this league and participates with us. I was worried when we started this league we'd have like 7 people show up, and we've had like 15, 16 every week, which to me is kind of the sweet spot. It's really a perfect number for me and for what we're doing here. So I thank everyone for coming out, and I thank you guys for putting on such an awesome broadcast every week.
Well, thank you for the kind words, and thank you for putting on a great show here tonight, Roger. That's your race winner, Kevin Dillon, in the decals by Dillon, number 26. I believe you caught up with our 2nd place driver, Tyler Hughes, there on the front stretch.
All right, well, let me scramble back over here. I was standing next to Jeff. Yeah, Tyler, hey, great run here tonight in that row 6, number 3 Chevrolet. You were able to hold off Kevin Dillon there for quite a while. What went away on this row 6 car there on that final restart where you weren't able to get back to the race lead?
Yeah, man, I probably just wore my stuff out a little bit too much. I thought I was saving and backing up the corner enough, and apparently I wasn't. Just listening to Kevin's interview there, it was definitely a fun race, man. I was kind of just lacking turn, dead middle, just trying to get it cut and get off the corner. But I felt like my strong suit was drive off. Kevin could really roll the middle better than I could, but I'd drive away from him, off the corners and stuff. But it was a good race tonight. I've kind of crapped the bed all season. It seems like every race I've been able to lead the most laps and just end up just kind of taken myself out of contention. So it's nice to kind of come away with a second place finish tonight.
Yeah, second place. You really can't, be too upset when you think about it in the realm of points racing. It's a good night points-wise, and now think about this. You're headed into a couple tracks, a little smaller, Bristol and Martinsville. You're going to be able to transition here from the North Wilkesboro Speedway, take the momentum you got here in your second place finish, and really, strive to possibly park it either back onto the podium or for the first time in victory lane.
I'd sure like to hope so. Bristol, I've actually run a race or two there, just away from the league, and Bristol's a ton of fun, and felt like I was pretty sporty there. But I know these guys are going to be just as fast as I will, and be in contention for a win. So, I just got to keep my nose clean like I did tonight. This is the first night I think I've gone without damage or incident points, so. That's nice to see, and hopefully, I think as long as I do my job behind the wheel, we should be in the top 3, no problem.
Well, it's a good night for you in the row 6, guys. Who made it all possible here tonight as you finish on the podium for the first time this season?
Yeah, really, I gotta thank my actual racing team owner. He gave me a computer to get back going during this quarantine deal, and I've been out of iRacing for probably 2.5 to 3 years, and I went ahead and bought me a new wheel and some monitors and got back going again. But really, just thank him for kind of giving me the computer to get back going. So that was a big piece of the puzzle. So, yeah, man, and it's been a fun league. I appreciate Jeff and Kevin for hosting this every week and doing this, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, there you heard it from your second place finisher tonight, the row 6 Chevrolet, number 3, driven by Tyler Hughes. He comes onto the podium for the first time this season, and it's going to be now looking to take the momentum here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway and carry it over to Bristol and Martinsville before we head to Watkins Glen. Al, it's kind of maybe a little unconventional way for the driver of that number 3, just kind of slapping a computer together and getting back out onto the platform, but it's good to see him have a great run here tonight.
It definitely was, and as we roll down here on the front stretch, we'll slide over to Jeff. And Jeff, you led some laps early on in this race, and we're putting the pressure to him. What did you need in this 52 to get it done here tonight?
I think that one restart where they both got by me there. Kevin had a really good pit stop. Somehow his pit crew picked him up 2 spots under that one caution. And then I just lost track position. But even at the end, I was having a tough time hanging with those guys. I'm not sure if I was driving in too deep or I just lost my rhythm, but I couldn't hang that much. So I was hoping the second half of the race was going to go green and I could kind of chill there and let those guys fall back to me. And we were kind of going that way for a little bit, but on the restarts, we were all pretty even there. So I'm happy to come with third. It was a good point tonight. I know David had problems, so it helps me out. But overall, it's a good night.
Okay, coming to the standings just behind Poland's in the standings. He comes home in the 8th position. You're going to most likely take over that points lead headed into Bristol next week. So only a handful of races left to go. I think three races after here tonight. We got Bristol, Martinsville, and then ending the season up here in New York. So how's the outlook looking for the rest of the season for this team?
Bristol should be fun. I ran a couple of laps there, and it's gonna be interesting. That's the thing. One track that these cars don't feel like themselves at. They felt like truck or a nationwide car or Xfinity. So that should be interesting. Martinsville's one of my favorite tracks. Now with the basically breaking the flag stand. So that'll be a learning curve. And then Watkins Glen. I'm okay at road course racing, but that's going to be interesting. Not going through that little bus stop there with these cars. You really have to brake early and to make that right-hander there. So, definitely look forward to the short tracks, road course. We'll see what happens.
Well, good job here tonight. Who makes it all possible for you?
Thank you guys for putting on a good show, and especially tonight with our little hiccup at the beginning there. You guys worked with us, and we got it worked out. Kevin for what he does on his side, and us two, we work together when we can to get things halfway straight here and all the drivers. And tonight was a great showing for these cars and this track. It's you gotta be patient around here, and these guys all ran a smart race, and we got done really quick, and we had 3 or 4 cautions, which was great. I know it wasn't the most side by side races in the world, but everyone had good car control, and yeah, we'll for next weekend see what happens.
Well, Roger, that's our 3rd place finisher, Jeff Dillon. I see you lurking around here. You got any questions for him?
Actually, you know what's funny, Al? I just had my mic entirely muted there, but good run to Jeff Dillon, Tyler Hughes, Kevin Dillon, the winner here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. But, Al, it was a good run here. A little bit of rain before this qualifying session here tonight kind of put us a little bit behind the 8 ball, but we were able to get it in before the nighttime skies took over here in North Carolina. But how about it? We're going to transition. The season opener, we started at Daytona. We went to Rockingham, Richmond, Atlanta. We hit the All-Star race over at Charlotte. Now we head into this portion where we started here at North Wilkesboro at the smaller tracks. We're going to go to, what they call the concrete jungle pretty much at Bristol. What do you think the racing is going to be like just next week?
I think that it's going to be unpredictable. As you heard the drivers here, they said that the cars don't act or handle like themselves, and I think that's a characteristic of going to the concrete. It'll be our first concrete track that we go to with the 87 cars. Maybe the bias ply tire and the concrete, they aren't going to really work that well together, so we'll find out what's going to happen next week. I think it could be a wild one down at the Glass Great Coliseum.
Yeah, a lot of these gladiators will square off next week, but there you see the results on our screen. Kevin Dillon, Tyler Hughes, Jeff Dillon, you heard from all them. Michael Favret finishes 4th. Coyer comes home in the 5th position. Somke is 6th. Palmer is the last car on the lead lap in 7th. David Polans was 8th. Mark Favret was 9th. Chris Lagoo going to be able to come home in the 10th position. Matt Vade in 11th. Carl Burke 12th. Preston Boris 13th. 14th was Austin Carter. That's your rundown here. Everybody scrambled across the start-finish line here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. But race fans, we got to thank you all for tuning in here tonight on the Turn 3 Racing Network and bearing with us here in the early stages of this one as we got ready to go racing at North Wilkesboro. We got the 125 laps in. We hope you enjoyed your show. So for everybody at the All-Pro Sim Racing League, and especially here for the 87 Shootout Series presented by Decals by Dillon, we thank you for watching. For Al Smith, I'm Roger Muth and the whole Turn 3 Racing crew. We hope to see you just next week when we head to the Bristol Motor Speedway.